Imagine walking into a farmhouse in the heart of rural Wisconsin and stumbling upon lampshades crafted from human skin, bowls carved from skulls, and masks sewn together from actual human faces. Welcome to Screen Time with Azhar. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Your support really helps the channel grow. But this isn't just a chilling movie plot, it's the true story of Edward Theodore Gein, the man who inspired classics like Psycho, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and The Silence of the Lambs. Tonight, we're going to delve into the dark and twisted psyche of the man known in history as the Butcher of Plainfield. This is Monster, the Ed Gein story. Ed Gein was born on August 27, 1906, in La Crosse, Wisconsin. His upbringing was anything but typical. His father, George, battled alcoholism and struggled to hold down a job, while his mother, Augusta, was a devout Lutheran who preached a strict doctrine that painted women as sinful, impure, and doomed. She kept Ed and his brother Henry isolated from the outside world, forbidding them from making friends. Their lives were dominated by her relentless sermons about sin, death, and the fires of hell. This isolation transformed Ed into a shy, awkward boy. He had an almost obsessive admiration for his mother, bordering on worship. And this unhealthy attachment would eventually spiral into something truly horrifying, when his father passed away in 1940, followed by his brother Henry in 1944 under mysterious circumstances. Ed found himself left with only his mother. But in 1945, Augusta also died after suffering a series of strokes. For Ed, this was the tipping point. Alone, abandoned, and unable to cope. Something inside him broke. After his mother's death, he became completely withdrawn, isolating himself in the family farmhouse near Plainfield. He boarded up her bedroom, preserving it as a shrine, untouched and frozen in time. Meanwhile, he lived in the rest of the filthy, decaying house, surrounded by magazines about death, anatomy, headhunters, and Nazi medical experiments, but reading wasn't enough to satisfy him. Ed started sneaking into local cemeteries at night, digging up the freshly buried bodies of middle-aged women. Women who reminded him of his mother. He would take their remains home, meticulously carving up the corpses. He transformed their bones, skin, and organs into household items. Ed later admitted that he had a bizarre desire to literally become his mother. To achieve this, he started creating what he referred to as a woman suit, a full-body suit made from human skin that he would wear around the house at night. For years, Ed primarily dug up graves, but eventually, that just didn't satisfy him anymore. In 1954, Mary Hogan, a local tavern owner, mysteriously disappeared, leaving behind only a trail of blood. Then, on November 16, 1957, Bernice Worden, who owned a hardware store, also vanished. Her son, a deputy sheriff, found that Ed Gein was the last customer recorded in the store's register. When the police arrived at his farmhouse, what they found was nothing short of horrifying. Inside, they discovered Bernice Worden's body, hanging upside down in the shed like a deer, having been shot and mutilated, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. As the police continued their search, they stumbled upon a true nightmare. For noses stuffed in a box, a belt made from human nipples, chairs covered in human skin, a lampshade fashioned from a human face, skulls repurposed as bowls, and the notorious woman suit, entirely crafted from skin. In total, investigators uncovered remains of at least 15 women. This shocking revelation made headlines worldwide. The quiet, socially awkward farmhand Ed Gein had transformed his home into something unfathomable, a human slaughterhouse. Ed Gein was arrested and questioned, and he surprisingly admitted to grave robbing, crafting clothing from corpses, and murdering 2 women without a hint of remorse. It was as if he didn't fully grasp the horror of his actions. In 1958, he was deemed legally insane and sent to a mental institution rather than prison, where he would spend the rest of his life receiving psychiatric care. Ed Gein passed away in 1984 at the age of 77 in a mental hospital, laid to rest next to his mother in Plainfield Cemetery. His gruesome crimes left an indelible mark on American culture, inspiring some of the most notorious characters in film history. Norman Bates from Psycho, a man with an unhealthy obsession for his mother; Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, who donned masks made from human skin; Buffalo Bill from The Silence of the Lambs, who crafted a suit from the skin of women. Through these chilling characters, Ed Gein became the archetype for modern horror. Even now, his story continues to haunt true crime enthusiasts and horror aficionados alike. While Ed Gein may not fit the mold of a traditional serial killer, having taken fewer lives than many infamous criminals, what truly made him terrifying was not just the murders themselves, but the grotesque and unimaginable lifestyle he led. His actions blurred the lines between reality and nightmare, and perhaps the most chilling aspect of all is the reminder that this was not a work of fiction. Sometimes the most terrifying monsters are real. If you found this exploration of Ed Gein's story intriguing, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth looks into true crime and horror history.